What's up, guys? So we are starting this video off with some pretty bad news. We were working on the MR2 some more. We got here today and we let it fully warm up once again, just off camera. We were just kind of double checking things, messing with the idle, and we noticed that it still had a coolant leak from underneath the car. We got it up in the air trying to find out where it was coming from. At first we thought it was the thermostat housing or possibly that K-tuned billet little piece that we got, because it was leaking from around that area. And we kept doing some looking, and it turns out the block has a hairline crack on the outside of it, so coolant is actually leaking through the block to the outside, and we're not 100% sure on how to go about it right now, and I don't know if you'll see it too good on camera. Here, I'll try to zoom in on it. So it's really tucked back there. All right, so it's kind of hard to see, but right back in this corner there is a hairline crack. You can see some of that water right up there kind of building off of it. And yeah, we're not 100% sure what to do about this just yet. For right now, we're going to be pulling off like the alternator and the water pump and thermostat housing, and kind of open up this whole area so we can get a better look at it. We're really hoping that we can just maybe like weld the outside of the block and patch that up, because that's not going to be, you know, a structural part of the block. That's just where the coolant is kind of being housed in there. So yeah, we're not too sure. Worst case scenario, we might have to get a new block for this thing, but we're not coming to any conclusions just yet. But we're gonna go ahead and start pulling all this stuff apart and just see how bad it is. Well guys, our bad news just turned into really bad news on the MR2. So we went to drain the oil, and we talked about having issues with it being milky in the past, and at first it just seemed like it was E85, but it's definitely coolant inside of the oil. The first time we drained it, not much extra fluid came out, you know, like 4.5, 5 quarts came out, and it was normal. This time when we just drained it, it must have got worse, because we have probably about 7-ish quarts of liquid that came out of this thing. There's that, and then there's still all this in the pan. You can see it's all yellow and gross, and that is coolant mixed with the oil. We pulled the pan and girdle off, and that crack goes all the way through to the inside of the motor. We had it filled up with coolant, and water was dripping out of this hole right here where the dipstick comes through. And that means we're gonna need a new block, guys. It really sucks, but you know, it is what it is. I had this block sitting around forever, didn't really know the condition of it, and no one probably could have seen that crack. It was so tiny, and we don't know the history of this block. Maybe it sat in a car and the motor had water in it, froze over, caused that crack, and they never saw it when they went to take it to get machined, because this block does have CSS on it, but it was never used. I had to get it honed over because it was never ran in a car, so obviously that crack had to be there from the start, well before I got it, or well before it was even machined. But yeah, is what it is. Really sucks. So
there's no way you would have caught it. Like, you had to fill it to see it.
And at least you could still use everything, so.
Yeah, I mean, at least we caught it early. I mean,
everything's still good.
Yeah, like the process of building the car is, like all the fabrication stuff is what really takes a long time. The block really isn't too bad. Like if we have all the parts, you know, it's like it's a day deal back and up and running, but the thing that's gonna set us back right now is finding another block. But we actually have already been calling around. We think we have a couple lined up that are local, and then I am gonna have to get one remachined for the O-rings on top. But yeah, I just need a new head gasket. The bearings should probably be fine, but we might throw some new ones in there anyways. We're gonna double check once we pull it all apart, but I mean, it just is what it is. We really can't get around it any other way. We're gonna have to yank this thing back out and just try to build it real fast and put it all back together. And we're not gonna rush it or anything like that, but it's just what needs to be done. And I guess for the rest of today, we're just gonna focus on trying to get this thing yanked out of the car. And I'll just have to figure out what I need to do to get another block for this thing, and then I can just swap all the internals out of this one over, and it really shouldn't be too bad, honestly. But it does suck. It's a minor setback, but I mean, hey, maybe we can get this thing done by the time my axles even get here, since they're so far back on those. Like, it's not even a big deal. It's not like I'm ready to drive it. Yeah, I honestly think we can probably get it running before the axles even get here. So, but it is what it is. So we're gonna drop this thing back down and yank her. So gotta build another motor for this thing, but you know, it's not like we're not used to this. Right. This would happen.
That's normal, man.
guys. It didn't take us too long, but we got her out. Just disappointment, just sadness. But I got a cool thumbnail with everything bolted on at least, so that's why the turbos and stuff are on, because it kind of looks cool. But I'd show the crack, but it's kind of hard to see. But it is just right up under there. Yeah, just give me some light. It's really hard to see, but it is right. And look, I'll touch it with the light. It's that guy right there, right on the outside, and that's what connects to the inside. And we got a whole bunch of water in the oil pan. So we are going to have to take this completely apart, and I'm just gonna have to swap all my internals into a new block. But I think I'm gonna get a block from our buddy that has one. It's a brand new sleeved block. This is CSS, and I'm actually gonna be going ahead and just putting a fully sleeved block in it.
It's not a cylinder support system for you guys. It's like over here they did it.
Yeah, this was done by, yeah, not actual CSS. This was done by just a local company over here. But yeah, I'm gonna be swapping all that over. Just gotta double check all the bearings and have to redo the ring gaps, make sure all that's still good. But I think once we get that block, we can, you know, get it knocked out in a day or two and just get it all put back together. But you know, it is what it is. It had to happen. It's unfortunate, but who knows? I think I'm just gonna get rid of the MR2 and put this on the back of the shopping cart.
Let's do that.
That would be a sick shopping cart.
Bro, it would just be constantly wheelie, because you just set it on the back and it, just the weight of it.
Ballast.
Yeah. I'll sit in the front.
I know Emilio showed up because he just got back from Vegas, and he got here
The first thing he told me is like, oh, it's almost ready. I was like, oh, cool. And now we had to take it out.
Yep.
Same thing with the Grinch.
Good things happen, man. So
yep. It is what it is, guys. That's the race car life.
It's everything that I went through.
Roman's over here mumbling, and the whole time he's talking about how it's the exact same thing that he went through.
Yeah.
I think he gave us his block, and we got all his crap. Everything that's happened.
Fittings were leaking.
We got all of Roman's juju.
The cam sensors were
And who worked
flipped.
on it?
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of work on it, but I mean, and now you
So
need a new
the
block like
moral of
me.
the story, kids, is don't let Roman
And you're
work on
going
your
sleep.
K. Okay.
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 Yeah, no.
Okay.
Dang. Yeah, now we're gonna be putting them in side by side.
Yep.
Yours will be here, and yours will be here.
Damn.
Oh man. Here we go.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
I've come this way.
Damn it, dude. Now I put the wastegates on yesterday. I'm like, everything's gonna go back. Everything's gonna be finalized. Nothing has to come back off for any reason. And you know what? It did. Yeah.
I've had other plans.
I got here this morning thinking, man, we're gonna get the MR2's coolant figured out. We're gonna warm it up and set up a rowdy two-step with the boost clamps all figured out, and just get a sick-ass thumbnail with a flame coming out of those. And no, we pulled it out. But hopefully we'll get that block soon, and I'll get it to the machine shop ASAP and go from there. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna be down for more than a couple weeks, if that. At most. Maybe by the end of next week we'll have it back in. But frick. Well guys, unfortunately we had to take a few step backs today on the MR2. Really does suck, but is what it is. So tomorrow I think we're gonna come back here, get this thing ripped apart, and you know, just get everything laid out on a table, get all our parts cleaned off, and just have everything ready so that when we do get a new block figured out for this thing, we can just get it knocked out, get it back in the car, and keep going from where we left off. And yep, so that's it for the day though. Definitely walked in here not expecting to pull the motor out of this thing, but yep, sometimes your cars have other plans for you, but is what it is. We'll see you guys later, and as always, thanks for watching. Alright, so I'm editing this video right now, and I did get a little bit more of an update on finding a block for the MR2. It's actually some more bad news, unfortunately. Our buddy had a couple blocks, and my plan was to get one from him and, you know, bring everything next day to the machine shop and just get it going, and then we'll have a new motor put together for this thing, you know, within the next few days or, you know, next week. But it turns out the blocks that he has are over bore. He had originally thought that they were all standard bore, which is what I need for my pistons and stuff. And when he did go to check them, I was just about to buy one from him. He double checked them just to make sure, and they were actually not standard bore, and they're not gonna work for me. So that does suck. So I am actually on the hunt for a block still. So I just wanted to add at the end of this video, if anyone out there does have a sleeved K24, even CSS, hit me up. It needs to be standard bore, all standard size, everything. And just let me know, because I really do want to get the MR2 back up and going. And I know this whole video is going to be kind of just a letdown for a lot of you guys, because we were getting so close on this thing. But yeah, I do need to find a block for it. Just message us on Instagram, either Boostedboiz Instagram, or my personal one is Boostedboy Kyle. If you have one or happen to know somebody, just let me know, and I'm willing to buy it from one of you guys. I'm just trying my best to find one so we can get this thing back in the car and get her going. But just wanted to add that at the end of this video as well, so thank you guys so much.